Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Damien Galvin from White Mountain Property. We are a real estate agency here in Bucharest, and we also cover Brasov. On our website, whitemountain.ro, you'll find a blog with many useful articles about how to get the best out of your time in Romania and all sorts of useful guides such as this one. But today I want to look at the best way to work with a real estate agent or a realtor. As with any professional, whether it's a mechanic, a doctor, a plumber, and so on, you'll get most from that relationship if you try to connect and you build a relationship first. So my strong advice is basically narrow the field down by searching for a broker or an agency with a good reputation in the field. You can do that from either Google Maps or from their website or their Facebook page and so on, and try to read through their testimonials and get a feel for what they're good for. The second thing is you really want a real estate broker that's doing this full time, not just a part-time hobby. The next thing you want to look at is what's their field of expertise. Nobody can be good at all aspects of the domain, but they might focus on a particular area or a particular property type, and if that's close to where you're looking to target, then that's ideal for you. And if not, you perhaps want an agent that's willing to expand beyond their own portfolio and to work with other agencies. The different types of real estate agent basically are those that work exclusively for the owner, and that's known as exclusivity here in Romania, where they basically work for the owner, the tenant, the landlord or the seller, and they only charge a commission of that person, and therefore their interests are primarily focused towards that person and not towards you. And then there are those that serve both parties, i.e. they charge a commission for both halves. And then there are those types that collaborate. So for example, my personal approach is when I get a given request, I go to a closed group, Mr. Exclusivitate, Keller Williams, Remax, Prime Estates. I advise I've got a short list of about 15 agencies that I can trust, and I can share your requests actually with them, and that gives me a much wider field. I don't proclaim to be an expert in any one of those, but I've got nearly 40,000 hours experience in the domain, so I can filter through the data and significantly reduce your search down. So you want to determine what kind of broker you're working with and where their motivations lie. And also linked to that question is, what's the commission split? Who's paying a commission? Just because you're paying zero commission doesn't necessarily mean you're getting a good deal. It can mean actually in some cases where the commission for the seller or for the landlord is quite high, it can be so high that that person puts that fee somehow into the price. So actually you end up paying for it as the tenant or as the buyer. So it's important for you to understand where ultimately this broker is getting paid, how they're getting paid, and what their motivations are. And again, my personal preference of working is where I collaborate, I share the request with other agencies, and so that the partner agency would charge their client and I would charge mine. In other cases, I work for both the owner and for the tenant at the same time, and I'll commission both halves, but my loyalty is clear to both parties. So what I'm looking for is the perfect outcome for both people. For the owner, I'm simply looking for the best possible client I can find, somebody that's cash ready, that's a serious client, and they're in a position to move forward. And for the buyer or the tenant, I'm looking to get the best possible deal, best terms and conditions, and a contract that's secure and protects their rights. So you want to look at, when you've narrowed it down to the broker, you want to look at what kind of support they can offer you, what follow-on support, what's their network. If they're just closed in a certain area, they only work within their portfolio, if that's the area you're interested in, that will work fine for you. If you're not sure where you want to be, you need a broker that's willing to expand their horizon a little bit, let's say, and also what follow-on support they've got. They might have access to evaluators or architects or interior designers or furniture makers and so on, and this might also save you a lot of money. Ultimately, the commission you'll pay to an agency is relatively small. For rental, for example, it's between 4% and 8% of a year's rent, i.e. half a month or 1 month, and for buying it can be 1%, 2%, those sorts of orders. So it's a relatively small fee that you're paying, and ultimately if you try and go it alone, as many people do, you can lose a great deal more than 1 or 2% from this. So it's really wise advice to try and work with a good solid broker that's absolutely on your side. So coming back to the broker relationship, try to find a broker that you can connect with, and maybe you've got something in common with them, a common interest. And once you do that, ideally with a face-to-face meeting, and if not with a video conference, try to form a bond and be honest and transparent with them. The role of a broker, basically, they spend their time searching for requests that either die out, they become invalid, they're no longer needed, or the client requirements change. So a good proportion, can be 90% of their time, is completely lost on a search that's no longer needed. And so a broker is struggling to find out whether your request is live and valid, and has it changed over time. And that's important for you, the client, to demonstrate your fidelity, your integrity, and simply say to the broker, look, if you meet my requirements, I'm quite happy to pay your commission. And if you find something from another agency and you still prefer to work with this chosen broker or this chosen agency, you can share that with them, and they in turn can go to that second agency and ask for a collaboration agreement to collaborate on your behalf. So it's very important for you, the client, to demonstrate your fidelity and be honest. If your needs change, don't be shy. What can sometimes happen is a tenant will, as they start to learn about the market and they realise what they can get for their budget isn't what they thought, they sometimes could be too shy, too embarrassed to tell that broker, actually what we're looking at isn't going to meet my needs, and they just quietly shy away into the shadows and then go and start the search with somebody else. You should have no shame at all in sharing that with your broker, and he'll be honest with you and say, okay, for what you're looking for, it's not my specialism, I recommend going to this source or this source. So again, try to determine from the beginning transparency, fidelity and honesty, and equally you're looking to find out what experience the broker's got, what's their niche area, what is their network, and whether they're full-time or part-time, and most importantly, who's paying the bill. And that way you know where the loyalties lie and where their abilities lie. So I hope you find this video useful. If you do, please give a like and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.